No one's given us any money this week, have they?
No.
Stephen.
Andrew.
Fancy spending a quiet night inside number 9?
Yeah, go on.
Alrighty, we are going into the script book again, and we are looking at Love's Great Adventure, which, yes, is series 5, episode 3. Got that right? Yeah, sounds about right.
It'll do.
It'll do. Yeah,
series may be different. The episode number may be different. Let me get the feeling you're phoning it in these days.
It is 5. It is 5. 3. 5. 3. Because then we got misdirection. Yeah. Thinking out loud. Stakeout. Yeah. We're all good.
Cool.
So welcome, everyone. Yeah, these into the sort of flick through the scripts episodes are a revisit to the episodes. We've done a reaction one a few years ago. It's very difficult to remember what we said. And then, yeah, these we have a look at the script books and see what is different. In today's case, we'll probably be more looking at what is the same because, yes,
which makes a really rubbish
spend ages
podcast. Here's some stuff that was the same as you saw in the episode. Done.
Yeah, exactly. So we were just trying to figure out how we were going to approach this because it does feel like quite different from, some of the other episodes, which are a lot more true to the script. I think we both did the same thing in doing the rewatch with the script book and trying to make a note of all the things that were different, which is so many things, before we then went and read the Insider's Guide, which said most of this is improvised. Yeah,
I think to give you all some insight into how this usually works is I sit down with the script book out with the episode playing and my hand hovering over the space bar for when I inevitably have to hit pause because I've noticed something's changed and want to make a note of it. And so it'll take, 40 minutes to get through an episode. This took a lot longer than that because it was just, okay, pause, scribble. And it was only when I got to the end and then read the Insider's Guide and went, oh, this was by design pretty much all improvised. Yeah. And the script was just a guide. And I realised that was an entire waste of time. Because I think when there's only little tweaks, we've often tried to think about what reason there has been for those little tweaks. Yeah, maybe it's something to do with character and all those kind of things. And that's why it felt important to try and do that in case there was an overall like tone shift that happened with the things that they decided to change and things like that. No, this is very, very different. And I'm quite glad that I did it because I did it the same way round as you. And I think we have similar processes. I found myself like just basically writing out the entire script and adding all the things that are in the final episode that aren't in the script. So I've got a coding system of plus is something that was added in in the episode and minus is something that disappeared. A lot of pluses. Not many minuses.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And it's, to me, because I've never had a massive issue with this episode, but I don't think it's been like up there. I wouldn't put it in my sort of top 10. But I think going through this in the way that we did has put it right up there for me. Like I think it's an absolutely fantastic episode.
I think a lot of that comes from the way that it was kind of built. And I think the Insider's Guide is probably a good place to start with this, I guess. Because otherwise we're just going to be sort of dancing around why it's so different. And we're talking about the improvisation and stuff. They said that the whole process of casting this was very different from before, where rather than having some people in mind, they actually did auditions for the members of the family. And once they created that family, they felt like the best way to kind of build the family relationships was all just to have a big lunch together and kind of let them build some chemistry and see what came out of it. They had to have a guide script because Adam Tandy was worried that otherwise it would be just turned into a crap episode of EastEnders where there wasn't any kind of structure to it and it just all kind of fell apart and was going to be just like, say, a substandard normal soap. But what this then meant was there were little things in like the child actor that they wanted to play on, and the fact that the son deliberately ate away from the rest of the family at lunch so he could kind of build up that sense of being separate from it all. It's really quite fascinating. It all sounds quite method.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, and with the Connor, so the kid, like a lot of the stuff that we see him doing is pretty much genuine. Like the reactions, and because I'd always thought that with, when they're making the mince pies, and there's something about that just feels so authentic that it's like, they're just doing that and they're being filmed doing that. And there's like a real, like, obviously they're aware that they're kind of acting and they're...
But he's not a child actor, is he really?
I don't think so.
I think it says he wasn't really a child actor. He was kind of put forward.
Well, they didn't want anyone from like stage school.
No, with that kind of background.
Yeah.
Because you're right, that you don't... It's a real art to make it, to kind of make it seem, I guess, that sort of familial and natural that a lot of stage kids probably would struggle with, because he's not playing a part. He's just being the little boy surrounded by some people that he's got to know.
Yeah. Just doing little activities that are going on. And I think it was seeing the direction that the camera is observational and allows us to capture the small moments of family life. I hadn't really thought about the fact that it's almost like it says about the action is shot fly on the wall documentary style. And it's like, it is. It does have that feel of like the camera is around the family, just trying to capture what's going on, and the family are ignoring the fact there are cameras there. A bit like a mockumentary kind
of
The Office.
Thing.
Yeah, it's that kind of thing. So like the handheld camera, sort of slightly shaky cam at times and all of that sort of stuff. And it's really interesting hearing or reading the stuff about Guillermo Morales and it was like way out of his comfort zone in terms of leaving things to just happen as opposed to contriving the shots and really controlling the scenes and everything.
Well, he said he felt lazy.
Yeah.
That he wasn't doing anything and that he was almost stealing a living on this episode because he was just having to roll the camera and let stuff happen.
Yeah. Yeah. I can imagine that. And I can imagine it's the sort of thing that you could, and it sounds like there were moments, was it Adam Tandy or one of the producers was like, you're doing too much. Like you could imagine getting in your own way with this sort of project. Cause it's like, well, I need to feel like I am useful and I do have a reason for being here. And actually, the magic of it is the opposite of that. Yeah.
I don't think you can force the interactions that are going on in this episode at all. And that's why there's a script there that's kind of, for the most part, it's there as a skeleton kind of, okay, here's the sort of stuff we'd like you to talk about, but you've also got a bit of a license here to just do what kind of feels natural at these points. I felt like they took out some dad jokes from Steve. I think Steve got fewer dad jokes. That was one running theme throughout the whole thing, was he had less of those.
Yeah.
I don't know whether they just felt forced.
Yeah, and I think one of the things I noted was that Steve, I think the sort of organic chemistry that he had with, like in the first, because the first scene's completely different, where they're talking about the maths and Connor's doing doing his maths and the traffic light method and all of that kind of stuff. And
I don't know what that is.
yeah, you should know.
I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, and actually, there's probably more of an organic interaction that occurs, and Steve is, I imagine, amazing at the improv that comes through that, and just responding and reacting to whatever Connor comes out with, and yeah, like even because the alien story about the invasion
from Planet Pooh Bum,
yeah, is. And he does that later, doesn't he? When he comes home from
comes
school.
back again. Yeah. Oh, yeah. There was they set up the thing where the spaceship had crashed, and people thought that that's where the twist was going to be when they started talking about there were all these viewers that thought the twist was going to be something to do with the alien landing that had supposedly happened at school, and that was going to come back. And annoyingly, the BBC advertised a podcast about believing in aliens halfway through the episode, which really kind
of
on the
red button.
Yeah.
So loads of viewers left. So, this is part of the twist. Yeah, that's just great.
They spoke about how this was an episode that Steve was. This is kind of like where Steve comes from. Kind of. This was kind of like, these are Steve's people from his growing up in Blackburn. Was Blackburn, isn't it? Don't need to ask Nick Mohammed.
Yeah, Blackburn.
We refer back to that episode of Bring the Mountain to Mohammed. He'll be able to tell us.
And actually, the link there, Plodding On, this episode was
Plodding On
going to be called
I
Plodding
did notice
On.
that. Well, this was supposed to be called Plodding On, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But instead, they just chose a random Ultravox.
Yeah. Which Adam Tandy was not happy about. It seems to be a running theme that you sort of read about in the Insider's Guide.
Shut up, Adam.
Adam Tandy is trying to put the brakes on this thing.
Yeah, is that? I might actually go through and count how many times Adam Tandy not wanting something to happen is mentioned in this.
Yeah. Interestingly, that carrot line that I think is one of it always makes me laugh when I hear it.
Oh, what normal carrots?
Can you bring back some carrots? Normal carrots? Yeah, what other carrots are there? That was not in the script. But normal carrots was.
There are different sorts of carrots. There's little Chantenay carrots.
Yeah, purple carrots.
Purple carrots, tinned carrots, frozen carrots, ones that have already been roasted. I think that's a fair question.
Yeah, but it does also feel the carrots.
You know what I'm planning to do.
We
with
always
this.
get the same carrots.
Dinner.
Yeah. You know what Christmas dinner is. Yeah, and I think I'm having a wee was added. Yeah, and it's I think there was in the final thing. There's a lot more of that real togetherness, and especially like with Trevor and Julia, there's just a lot of love. And it's funny because I was thinking back to like first viewing, and I guess it's the anticipation of twists and almost a foreboding like sense of where is the thing going to happen, and actually because of the way that they shot this, there's fewer Chekhov's things, and there's more just
Chekhov's
sort of
advent calendar,
incidental stuff. Yeah, Chekhov's advent calendar and the dancing, singing tree, Christmas tree.
That was, I love that thing. I'm assuming we said first time we watched it, that thing is horrifying. Nothing that's supposed to be light-hearted should have glowing red eyes. That's all. And it meets the demise that befits it.
Absolutely.
I'd want to smash that thing to pieces with a cricket bat.
Yeah, and that wasn't in the script.
No, it wasn't.
It was just, what was it, throwing it across the room?
Yeah, it was, yeah. No, if he's holding a cricket bat, he should use that cricket bat.
100%. 100%. Yes.
Why does that thing exist?
I don't know.
Yeah, give it glowing red eyes. What? Like, you mean like the Terminator?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So I mean, the grandma's knickers scene, because maybe we should just go through some of the stuff that is missing or that isn't in the final thing. Because I think
they changed the things for grandma's knickers, don't they?
Yeah. So let's read through some of that, because there's some stuff that people haven't. If you haven't got the script book, then there's some great jokes that you've missed, and they're just sat there waiting to be enjoyed.
Is this during International Kitchen Day?
Yes. Yeah.
What flavour is that ice cream?
Grandma's knickers.
What does your dad clean the car with?
Grandma's knickers.
You know your teacher at school, Miss Snape, what does she smell of?
Trevor.
Grandma's knickers. What does Grandma keep up her bum?
Grandma's knickers.
He laughed.
I didn't.
I do like the when you're looking at your special websites.
Yeah.
What do you have on hanging over your face?
I do love that. Yeah. And that, he sort of adds a bit to that, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
Which you feel like, I think, is how much of that is Steve just like, yeah, I'm gonna pull that out and see how far I can take it. Yeah. Yeah, and the floss thing as well,
To clean what do you use to clean your teeth? What do you use to floss your teeth?
And then Connor's like, this kind of floss, and then does his little dance.
Yeah.
And it just seems so genuine. Like I think that's what's beautiful about it. Like, it doesn't have any sense of being forced.
No, it doesn't. And I did notice that there are some of the scenes are fairly true to script, but they're the ones that are just between Steve and Reese.
Yeah.
Which is weird, because I thought they'd be able to they'd find that easiest, improvising with each other.
Yeah.
Unless
I guess that they are the
time. They're the professionals in this.
And within the story arc, because there is a story arc.
Yes. Yeah, it isn't, to be clear, it isn't just a family of people hanging out in a house and some stuff happens. There is a story here. There is a story.
And I think that relationship, and somehow I'd missed the fact that they were brothers. I thought they were just like really good friends.
Maybe you fell asleep at some point at the beginning of the episode and then woke up later on.
Exactly.
We've all done it, mate. It's okay. Don't feel bad.
Yeah. Yeah, but their interactions kind of do push the story forward. Mm-hmm. So I guess that it kind of makes sense that they would keep that.
Yeah. As is.
Oh yes, Mia, Uncle Alex. Yeah. But then I suppose sometimes you have uncles who are just sort of like
family friends.
But no, he is actually uncle. Yeah,
he is actually uncle. Yes, and Trevor's brother. Yeah,
your brother. Yeah,
I should have. There's lots of conversation about family, and
it's all about family.
The fact that he shouldn't have charged for the driving lessons and things like that, because, and that's why he's running people over on their behalf.
Yeah,
or she's running people over, and he's paying for the damage.
Yeah, basically, she's done the down payments on that. Paid for her damage that she is, cashing in on. Or does he give the money back? Or does he just... No, because he pays for the car damage because he feels bad about having taken their money, so he treats it as a Christmas present that's already taken care of. I feel bad for having taken your money for teaching my niece to drive. But it's one of those things that if that's his job, it means he's not charging someone else to do it. Yeah.
And I always think that if you've got friends and family who do stuff and create stuff, it's a bit of an insult to expect it for free from them. You're like, go on then. You're the one who should be kind of promote. promoting it, going, no, this is worth something. I'm willing to pay for this.
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
and not just, come on, where's my freebie?
And with driving lessons, there are expenses as well, like
there are.
fuel and wear and tear.
I mean, the flip side of this is that they are quite poor, and this is something that could open doors for their daughter. So maybe, I don't know, a reduced rate.
Yeah, I think maybe just we'll cover the cost of fuel.
Yeah.
Or if you, just turn a blind eye and maybe repair my car when I go and run someone over.
Fair deal. Okay. If I'll teach you to drive, and we'll pay for those, and in case that very specific situation crops up,
which is
down
unlikely,
the line, we'll see.
I really like the conversation, and I think because like where you have basic script stuff that then goes in slightly different directions, or there's different dialogue that appears. There's like that this is how it would happen. Like the two things in the driving when they come in, when we meet Alex, I think for the first time, when they come in after the driving lesson for that driving lesson.
Yeah.
And there's like loads and loads of hires around that, like hiya, and it's like that sounds familiar. But then also when she goes and Julia says, "Is she crap?"
Yeah. No, she's just.
And it's like the layers of conversation that go on, and it's like that is how it plays out. And they cut out Mia saying, "Thanks, Uncle Alex," and then Alex saying, "She's getting tall, isn't she?" And Julia saying, "Yeah."
Yeah, that would have been a very forced. I guess that was trying to create some awkwardness, but then it didn't really fit.
No, and that's where instead Julia's like, "Okay, go on then. Is she crap?"
Yeah,
and it's like, there's a lovely honesty to that just feels very much like, am I getting my hopes up about something that just doesn't stand a chance of passing this test? And they changed the day that they're going to do their next lesson from a Sunday to a Saturday.
Yes. And they remembered to follow through with that. He said, "See you on Saturday."
Do you think there's any reason for that?
The Sabbath.
Yeah.
It's one of the commandments, isn't it?
Don't
driving lessons on the Sabbath.
Don't learn to drive on the Sabbath. Yeah, I think so. It rings a bell.
She doesn't actually say she's going to fail. So in the script, she says that I'm going to fail. But they don't have that at all.
Yes.
You were talking before about the little exchange when they're baking. He doesn't actually eat any mincemeat because she pre-warns him not to. There's a line where she basically tells him don't eat it.
Oh, really?
And so we don't get that. And that there are some scenes with Connor where they do play out a little bit differently. And I guess that's just because that's kind of how naturally it happened. Like, she directs him then to go to see the carol singers rather than just kind of sort of buzzing around him with him carrying on with the baking. She actually tells him to go and see them. Yeah. While she looks for the money.
Yeah, I found that really interesting, actually, and that reminded me of when I first watched it, and I was convinced it was almost like a red herring of something's going to happen while he's out there on his own with the carol singers, and she's in the kitchen sort of looking through the money. But no. And actually that's not even in the script that he goes there. So it's so insignificant that it wasn't even obviously planned. So yeah, which is because I remember talking about that originally as like, that's the moment where it feels like some kind of turn is happening.
No.
And it's not even
not even mentioned
there. No. Yeah.
Around that, I also, and we probably talked about it before, I do love the stuff around Christmas food purchases and things I bought. They're not for eating now. It's not for now. They're for putting away for the day.
Yeah.
Special food.
Yeah, they're for Christmas.
They're for Christmas.
Tangerines.
It is Christmas.
It is Christmas. Who has Brazil nuts? We do. It's Christmas. Yeah. And I think, that as well, in the context of obviously the money situation and the fact that they're poor, but there's these things that are important, that are also completely unnecessary, because it's like, does anyone actually eat Brazil nuts?
No, but we have to have them because it's Christmas.
Yeah, we're spending that money on them.
I've spent quite a lot of money on the Christmas cake that I've made. I don't even like Christmas cake that much. I know other people do.
Yeah, no,
50 quid's worth of dried fruit and stuff has gone into this thing.
Insane amounts of money. Yeah.
It'll be enjoyed.
It wouldn't be Christmas without it.
It would.
It would.
Let me stop you there. It would. The day would still arrive.
Yeah. There's a cut line about sort of Julia saying that she could get a few extra cleaning shifts at the hospice.
The hospice. We hadn't really heard much about what Julia does.
No.
And that wasn't. And so I think that would have been our only time that it was actually mentioned, and it went. So we still don't know what Julia does. How does she contribute? How does Julia contribute to the household? Because we'll never know.
She cleans at the hospice.
And runs over drug dealers. And loan sharks.
Does that, I suppose it contributes to the successful running of the household?
I think it sounds very Godfather, doesn't it?
Yeah. I just go around mowing over people who...
To ensure the smooth running of the family unit.
Yeah. Yes. I think the store 16 day is quite... I mean, the chaos of them sorting out the lights and getting all of the Christmas decorations together, like, that's great. And there is stuff scripted, but I just wrote chaos. It's just chaos.
Where they're trying to, I imagine, just lobbing a big ball of tangled lights at a group of people and going, right, untangle those like a family would.
Yes, absolutely.
Run with it.
Yeah. And then it descends into tickle time. Which...
Put your hands up. Tickle time.
Tickle time. And then Patrick arrives.
Yes. He's good. He's really well played.
He's really good.
And I think you can try and script that character, but there were some scripted bits that didn't really fit with his character, like when there was a little thing when they were when Julia had made the dress, and Patrick was at the table, and it was said that there was going to be a look between Mia and Patrick, like a knowing kind of smirk, but that didn't happen because that wouldn't have happened there. I don't think Mia and Patrick have that sort of sibling relationship at all, because she doesn't really know him. Really, he's kind of his own thing that kind of floats around, and I don't think there's like that playfulness between them at all.
Yeah, I get that sense. Yeah.
Like Patrick doesn't even know how much Julia knows about all of his stuff that he's got going on at all. Turns out enough to know that someone needs running down.
Yeah.
She does know the difference between New Year and New York.
She does. She's more switched on than they realise, I think. So true. I think Patrick is such a good character. And like because Mia and Patrick have there is a relationship there, but I imagine from Mia's perspective, it's kind of like I just have to get on with my own life, and you know, Patrick comes in and out of it every so often, and that's really difficult to sort of deal with. It's very unpredictable, sporadic. But there is, like with the line when she tells him that she's passed a driving test, and he says, "Oh, congratulations! I'll have to look out when I'm crossing the road now." And so it's like
foreboding. Chekhov's road crossing.
yeah. I hadn't even thought of that. Yeah. But and I love that kind of, because it's the relationship's like safe for a bit of banter like that, which it's not like rude or like it's just a bit playful, and also very British. I think it's quite a uniquely, it's the kind of thing that does get said all the time.
100%. Every time anyone I teach tells me they've passed their test, I will say, "Oh, probably won't be driving into work for the next week then."
Yeah. It's just like something you've got to say. And the soup scene, I think I mentioned this in the original episode. I just absolutely love that. Like this soup is absolutely fantastic. What have you put in it? It's just tomato soup. Just kind of, is it Heinz or is it? Yeah,
that's where he is in his life, though, isn't he? Isn't it?
And sometimes if you have something like that at just the right time when you're really hungry, or you know, like
really
even just drinking a glass of squash when you're just so thirsty and just in need of a bit of sugar. It's like, this is fantastic. This is like one of the best things. Do you remember that shandy? Gods. Oh, that shandy in Wales.
Yes, in the Gower.
Oh, like I still think about that shandy.
And the thing is, you can say whatever you like about the fact that we were dragged on a 15-mile walk and told it was only going to be about half an hour.
We'll be at the pub in about 20 minutes.
That's what made that shandy taste so good.
Oh, that was so nice.
Sheer relief.
Yeah. And not thinking about the fact that we're only halfway round.
Same again.
I've got to go back. Yeah. Yeah, what a shandy.
What a shandy.
What was the other?
I think it's interesting that the whole quite complicated family situation is just kind of there when you're assuming that Connor is their kid, and it turns out not.
I was thinking about that. Yeah.
So Mia is his aunt. Yeah. So Mia is Connor's aunt.
Do we know anything about Connor's mum?
No. There's a line that mentions something, but Trevor kind of shuts it down quite quickly.
Right.
I think it's at the similar time when he's when Patrick's saying, "You make me feel that big in front of my son every time I see him, Dad."
Oh yeah.
And that must be horrible. And I get the impression that Trevor doesn't even do it on purpose. And Patrick's obviously very defensive about the fact that he's not around anyway, and he's kind of projecting a little bit that
checks a lot. Yeah.
It's Trevor that's doing it when actually it'd be a whole lot easier for you if you were there. But maybe it's better he's not.
Yeah.
Because Connor seems to be turning out into a really nice little boy.
He's lovely, isn't he? Yeah. Yeah, and I really love the scene when it's door 19 and then we discover door 9. And there's a bit that's cut out of that where they're talking about Robin Redbreast.
Oh, yeah.
And then Patrick's phone starts to vibrate and he ignores it. And Connor says, "Do you want me to answer it?" And then Patrick says, "No, just leave it." But there's no phone at all in that scene. It's just Patrick and Connor having.
Well, yeah, I don't think Connor's the sort of kid that would offer to answer his dad's phone.
No.
He's a bit too innocent for that.
And it feels like a outside of that reality, like the phone.
Don't bring that into it.
All the drug stuff it doesn't belong in that scene. And obviously his Patrick's reflections on what happened, why door number 9 hasn't been opened, is, and I loved that in the Insider's Guide when they're talking about, you know, what lies behind door number 9 is actually love. And it's like it was like, whoa, yeah, like the twist or the thing that is not seen is not some, like, obviously there's some violence in it, but what it symbolizes is Trevor taking that on him, and the love that he has for Patrick, and all of that is within this door.
When door number 9 was unopened, and then you come back to it later on, that felt like that was going to be the moment where something absolutely humongous kind of happened. This was it in the episode. This was going to be the big thing that happens.
Yeah,
but actually something fairly major does happen. It is a secret. Huge blow up.
There's a secret being concealed behind that door.
Yeah, only Trevor and Patrick know what's going on here. But yeah, in spite of that exchange, and in spite of everything that goes on behind door number 9, that they're still family. Yeah. It doesn't matter what's gone on. Trevor understands why that happened. He understands why, at the point that Patrick was in his life, and that's how desperate he was, that he can kind of see past it. And he can take his black eye and his broken collarbone.
And because I think what I really appreciate about this episode is the acknowledgement of the messiness and chaos of it all. And it's not just a sort of cut and dry, this was the situation and now everything's okay. Like, there's this constant thing of, like, just, plodding on. We're getting through day by day and see what this brings, and just appreciate everyone being together today, knowing that tomorrow could well be different, but not dwelling on that. And I I really like that. It's not sort of sugar-coated or saccharine as a Christmas episode could be.
Because we end this episode with not knowing what's going on with that loan shark eventually. We don't know if he's dead or if he's still in the intensive care unit, and he could crop back up at some point. And now he's pretty angry because he feels like someone might have put a hit out on him. But just wait and see. No point in worrying about it at the moment. Patrick's back at home. Things are all right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Did you hear about the dyslexic devil worshipper? He sold his soul to Santa.
What was that?
Just trying to work out. Oh yeah, Satan. Okay.
Yeah.
That's one of Trevor's dad jokes that didn't make the final.
Yeah. Thing. There was also one with. Was that the one with Al or not? What was that
one? Trevor and Patrick.
Sorry. No, Alex. Trevor and Alex. There was one in there as well that he didn't say.
Oh, was there?
Where is it? I want to find it now.
Oh, in International Kitchen Night. Door number 23.
Kitchen Night, yes.
Oh,
yeah, call me a taxi. Alex, what? You're a taxi.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh,
I don't know why they got rid of them.
Why did they get rid of that? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that scene's just really beautiful.
What, Trevor and Alex?
Trevor and Alex. When he talks about Sandra, missing Sandra. We don't know
what happened to Sandra.
whether she is just left him or is dead or what.
We
do know that Alex misses her.
What we don't know, I'm assuming Trevor doesn't know about Alex paying for the car to be fixed, because I'm assuming that Trevor doesn't know the car was damaged.
I think they kept that secret, yeah.
So there is something there that, despite this kind of exterior of just being in all this together, there are some quite significant secrets being kept here.
Yeah, I suppose there are.
Julia has potentially murdered someone with her vehicle, and on the quiet had that vehicle fixed to make sure that Trevor doesn't know anything about it. And so Trevor's there in his kitchen in the early hours of the morning with a cricket bat, waiting for something to happen that isn't going to happen because that guy's in intensive care. His wife put him there.
Yeah.
But also, I don't think he's talking to her about it either, because he doesn't want to worry her. How does she find out? Because if Patrick doesn't know she knows, what's her in? Word on the street?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. That is a mystery, isn't it?
How does she know?
Maybe she's more involved in that scene than we realise.
Maybe she's the high-level loan shark. She's the evil one. She's like the overlord loan. She's a lone whale. Absolutely massive.
How willing are you to sort of really double down on that theory?
Less willing than other assertions that I may have made about people taking their last gasp and dying at the end of episodes. This feels like sheer speculation rather than evidence-based opinion. But maybe. No, there's something strange about how she knows about all this. It might just be someone down the pub has told her. Because that's how she knew Patrick was about, wasn't it? She spoke to someone down the pub.
Yeah, I imagine it's probably quite easy to get.
Everyone knows about Patrick and his drug and money worries.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is some subterfuge going on here.
That's true. Yeah. And that scene, the scene where it goes from them all playing together to the knock at the door. Fantastic scene.
Yeah, it is.
Like the tension,
especially with and the fact you see none of it.
Yeah, and I think they remove, because there is a voiceover in the script of like, we're looking for a Patrick Morbury. Is he here? I don't think you really hear anything. You just hear sort of really muffly voices.
It's a weird way for the police to turn up to demand to speak to someone who they just wanted to kind of let them know. Were they there to... Because it doesn't seem as... I mean, I'd probably want to question him if I knew there was a link between him and that guy, and that guy's
We're here because we know he owed him a lot of money.
Attempted vehicular manslaughter. But it says that they wanted to speak to Patrick about this scumbag loan shark who's been threatening him. So I guess it was from the point of view of, do you have an alibi for...
Slightly informal, just scoping out, is this okay?
Yeah. Anything you want to tell us?
Yeah.
They want to take him downtown to question.
Yeah. So as I say, I just think this is a great episode and does something just totally different from almost every other episode of Inside Number 9.
They're quite a long way into this at this point, and they're still pulling out new stuff. Who'd have thought that the number 9 would be an advent calendar door? And I like that they tried to make sure that the advent calendar was an actual like narrative device and not just a gimmick thing going on. It was necessary.
Yeah.
Particularly with that number 9 door and something big being sort of hidden behind it is cool.
Yeah. It's just so creative. And I love doing this because it does take, my appreciation of certain episodes to different levels. And I think especially with this one and having the script and then having the background info in the insider's guide, it's just like, actually, that makes a huge difference.
And it turns out Guillermo Morales can do Ken Loach.
He can do Ken Loach. He had a lot of self-doubt by the sound of it. He didn't think he was the man for the job.
Although, to be honest, it was as soon as, I think we said it at the back end of last week's episode when we were talking about this one that's coming up, we said it was directed by Guillermo Morales. And we're like, what? You sure?
No.
You mean the horror guy?
Yeah. And I think, do we have another, is Misdirection, which is next week, is that, that's also Guillaume?
And I remember that one being a really enjoyable episode.
Takes us on a ride.
Misdirection.
Yeah. Enjoying Blue Sky?
I am enjoying Blue Sky.
Yeah.
In fact, I feel like I can say it here more so than I can say it there, but isn't it so much nicer? Because I don't want to say that on Blue Sky.
I don't want to say it on Blue Sky.
It's twee and annoying.
It's really annoying when people just talk about how much nicer Blue Sky is than...
Just make it nicer by being nicer. But yes, it's nice to have some of the old Twitter gang.
Yeah, it's good
over there already.
Drawing the old band back together there. Yeah. Did the final tweet on, was it Monday I did that?
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that.
I felt like that was a really necessary moment of closure on
Done.
That. Yeah, it's like, okay, we're off. See you later.
Hard little picture from the cricket.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's where that was from.
That was from the cricket. Yeah. Cricket. And then, the bus episode.
The bus.
Indeed. Yes, I'll put the image in the show notes so anyone that's listening is like, what you're talking about has a...
I also have to admit that it took me a good 3 days and I happened to be walking down the stairs and went, oh, a quiche. That's what that was. It was a quiche you were serving. He was talking about a quiche. But I don't know what made me think of it.
The quiche was quiche.
It was just a gif of something being served. And then 3 days later, I suddenly went, a quiche.
Yeah, so if you want to come and...
You want to see these hijinks?
Some pretty quiche posts.
Quiche content.
Like, no, it's not pretty quiche, is it? Because that would be pretty quite niche.
Yeah. That's disgust.
It's just...
It's quiche content.
Quiche content.
Literally and figuratively.
Yeah. If you've got anything that you would like to share with us based on what you've heard us talking about here, or just anything, inside number 9 related, preferably.
Or not.
Or anything, or not, whatever.
Or favourite picnic foods.
We'll anything take what we can get. You eat in a picnic that you wouldn't ever buy in at home. I'd love to know. A quiet night inside 09 at gmail.com or via Blue Sky at AQNIN9. There you go. Are
you glad the handle's the same?
I'm glad the handle's the same, yeah.
Or it's bluesky.aqnin.bluesky.social or .bsky.social. It's all quite messy still at the moment, isn't it, in some ways?
It is.
But I like it. There's a certain charm to it.
If you're on the platform, just search for AQNIN9, you'll find us.
You'll find our faces.
And our quiches.
Yeah. Only one quiche so far. Don't over egg.
I'm not going to over egg the quiche. No, I'm playing the long game on that. I think I'm going to get it to stick, but I don't want to oversaturate.
Saturated quiche sounds horrendous.
Oh, yeah. It's like clammy, very clammy. Yeah.
I think that's a good time.
Should we stop? All right, mate. Lovely speaking with you. Speak to you again next time.
Next time.
Have a good week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.